Imagine chasing your dream girl for years, making it public in your songs, finally winning her heart, and becoming hip-hop's ultimate couple goals. That was Yo Gotti and Angela Simmons. But here's the twist. While he was busy flexing, gifting Maybachs, and running his label, cracks started to form. Then came GloRilla, the rumors, and finally that brutal IG Live moment where everything flipped. Now the man who once had it all is scrambling to get Angela back, but she might already be gone for good. And trust me, the way this story plays out is wilder than any rap lyric. When Angela Simmons was asked if she was single, her reply was short but powerful, not by choice. Just 3 words, yet they reveal the whole story. Everyone knows what that means. She didn't walk away, she was left behind. In other words, Yo Gotti moved on, and not quietly. He went straight to GloRilla. But here's the twist. Fast forward to today, and the tables have turned. Gotti's the one trying to win Angela back. Publicly, we saw the big gestures, him going live and declaring his feelings. What social media didn't capture were the expensive gifts, the late-night calls, and the constant rumors that slowly pushed Angela away long before that live stream moment. And if we rewind even further, back to 2015, Gotti was the bold rapper who let the world know he had a crush on her through his hit Down in the DM. He literally spelled it out, and I just followed Angela Simmons. People thought, wow, he's really putting it all on the line. Now, after years of chasing and finally getting the woman he wanted, the story has flipped completely. The man who once proudly shouted his crush from the rooftops doesn't have it anymore. And seeing all that effort unravel? That's the real shocker. Yo Gotti didn't just confess his crush on Angela Simmons, he broadcasted it to the world. And people loved it. It became a kind of running joke in hip-hop. The Memphis rapper shamelessly shooting his shot at Rev Run's daughter, a woman considered hip-hop royalty and, for years, way out of reach. What started as a rap lyric slowly turned into a real-life romance. By 2023, the rumors weren't rumors anymore. They went Instagram official, with Angela posting a stunning photo of the two of them, captioned simply, "You're all I need." From the outside, it looked like a fairy tale. Fans praised them as hip-hop's grown couple goals. Finally, a celebrity relationship that seemed solid and drama-free. But as always, Instagram only showed the highlight reel. Behind the glossy photos, cracks were already forming. Sources close to the couple claimed Angela was beginning to feel like she was giving more than she was getting. With Gotti's schedule packed, she often felt sidelined, like she wasn't his priority. And it's not like Angela was just waiting around. She's a powerhouse in her own right. Between fashion lines, fitness brands, and her own ventures, she wanted stability, not just red carpet appearances. Meanwhile, Gotti's label CMG was on fire, and his artist GloRilla was everywhere. After FNF blew up, she was constantly in the mix, studio sessions, parties, events. At first, people brushed it off as business. But slowly, the whispers began. You know how it goes. Whispers turn into rumors, and rumors eventually explode into headlines. Before long, people were accusing Yo Gotti of getting a little too close to GloRilla. And then came the bombshell. GloRilla went live on Instagram and basically clowned him in front of everyone. Just like that, Gotti went from living his dream romance to looking like he lost it all: Angela, the couple goals, image, everything. It's wild when you think about it. This whole story started out as a fairy tale. A rapper shooting his shot at a woman he thought was untouchable, and somehow making it real. But now, it's turned into one of the messiest breakups the internet has seen in a while. And here's where things get even murkier. The Gotti and GloRilla connection hasn't exactly been subtle. Without Glo saying much, the internet has already started side-eyeing the whole situation. Because let's be real, this didn't look like a normal label relationship. Gotti wasn't just acting like a CEO, he was acting like a man trying to lock something down. Case in point, that birthday gift. Not flowers, not a cake, not even a fancy little trinket. Nah, Gotti pulled up with a brand new Maybach truck, wrapped with a big red bow. A $200,000 luxury SUV. GloRilla lit up Instagram with it, grinning from ear to ear, saying, "You the realist." Fans instantly flooded the comments like, "Hold up, this isn't business behavior. This looks personal." And honestly, they weren't wrong. So let's get real. Buying a Maybach truck as a birthday gift while you're supposed to be in love with Angela? That's not normal, bro. And it didn't stop there. Gotti doubled down with an iced-out watch, an 18K piece worth around $65,000. That wasn't just a flex on other labels, that was a flex on everyone watching. But here's the thing, You don't throw around Maybachs and diamond watches unless there's real investment behind it. People started connecting the dots, asking, is this really just business? Or is there something more going on here? One fan even commented, she looks gorgeous, he spoils her with the nicest gifts, and he never misses a chance to hype her up in interviews. And honestly, that's facts. Whenever Gotti talks about GloRilla, it's not just CEO talk, it sounds like pride, almost like a man bragging about more than just his artist. And it wasn't only the gifts. Gotti was physically showing up. He popped out at her birthday bash in Memphis, got on stage, and performed right alongside her, hyping her like her #1 fan. That's not some quiet, behind-the-scenes business move. That's a public declaration. Now, GloRilla herself never got messy, never threw shade at Angela. But let's be real, her presence alone was loud. Loud enough to spark the question. If he's doing all this for Glo, what does that mean for Angela? Because at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. And Yo Gotti's actions? They had everybody talking. While all of this was going down, Angela's own Instagram was telling a very different story. She posted a quote that read, "I want what wants me, in all areas. What flows, flows. What goes, goes." Now, that wasn't just a random motivational line. That was a woman quietly bowing out, sending a clear message. I'm not about to fight for a man whose loyalty seems invested somewhere else. And insiders backed that up. They said Angela's never been the jealous or insecure type. That's not her energy. But let's be clear, she's also not naive. She wasn't going to brush off the little red flags, even if they started as whispers or rumors. What she wanted was simple. More of Gotti's time, more effort, more reassurance that she was still his priority. And honestly, isn't that what most women in a serious relationship expect? You shouldn't have to beg for attention. It should come naturally. But if Angela felt like she was being sidelined while GloRilla was front and center, that hits different. Especially when you think about how long Gotti chased her, how many times she probably turned him down before finally giving him a chance, only for her to end up on the back burner. That's the part that really stings. When fans saw GloRilla clowning Gotti on IG Live, leaving him looking lost, suddenly all those picture-perfect posts made sense. They weren't reality, they were smoke and mirrors. And now, Gotti's the one scrambling to win Angela back while everyone else watches like it's the hottest reality TV show playing out in real time. But here's the real twist, Angela's silence. No rants, no shade, no messy subtweets, just calm. And sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. If you were expecting Angela to drag Gotti through the mud, you'd be disappointed. That's just not her style. She didn't go live to air him out, she didn't throw subliminals on IG. Instead, months ago, she delivered what might have been the most graceful gut punch we've seen. When Angie Martinez asked her if she was single, Angela paused, smiled, and said, "Not by choice. But you respect him. Some stuff is better left unsaid. Much love and respect to him. He's doing his thing, and I'm happy for him." At the time, fans called it classy, even closure. But looking back now, after GloRilla's viral "I don't need no man" moment and all the whispers about Gotti privately trying to get back in Angela's good graces, those words hit different. Not by choice. That lands like quiet heartbreak, like she wanted it to work, but he fumbled it. Some stuff is better left unsaid. Now fans can't help but wonder if Angela knew way more than she was letting on, about Glo, about the label drama, about everything. Fast forward to today. Insiders claim Gotti has been reaching out behind the scenes, and Angela's old interview suddenly feels less like closure and more like dignity. A woman who walked away without making a scene, while the world connected the dots for her. Now here's the kicker. Suddenly, Gotti wants Angela back. The problem? She's already learned how to live without him. That calm little mic drop moment on the Angie Martinez show didn't seem like much back then, but now, after GloRilla publicly embarrassed him on IG Live, fans are pulling those clips back up and looking at them in a whole new light. And it gets messier. Blogs are buzzing that Gotti has been trying to slide his way back in, sending Angela surprise flowers, leaning on mutual friends to smooth things over, and even creeping on her Instagram. Word is, he's been liking old posts, which, let's be real, is the classic "I miss you" move in 2025. The internet, of course, is eating it up. Some folks are clowning him, saying he went from chasing his dream girl to crawling back in embarrassment. Others are telling Angela to leave him alone, calling it nothing more than a desperate ex moment. But then there are the hopeless romantics, reminding everybody that Gotti spent years chasing Angela, So maybe, just maybe, he deserves another chance. Either way, the optics are wild. He went from being the boss who finally got his dream girl to the guy who fumbled her. And now, just as his thing with GloRilla crumbles in public, he's scrambling. But here's the bigger question. Why does Gotti suddenly look ready to crawl back to Angela now? Because honestly, it's not just about losing her. It feels like his whole empire is shaking. And whispers, quiet, careful whispers, are starting to circle about a possible RICO case floating around his CMG label since that. Once the young Dolph murder trial started making headlines again, Yo Gotti's name kept floating into conversations. Nothing confirmed, but you know how this industry works. Where there's smoke, there's usually something cooking. And suddenly, nobody wanted to be tied to that kind of heat. Now, put yourself in GloRilla's shoes. She's one of the hottest new rappers out, booked for festivals, stacking endorsements, brand deals. She's got everything to lose. The last thing she wants is to be dragged into messy legal drama tied to her label boss. So when she hopped on Live and basically said she was done, that was a business move as much as it was personal. It was her protecting the bag. And honestly, it was smart. If the Dolph case does get cracked open again, or even looked at more closely, Glo wants no part of that. Sure, Yo Gotti gave her the platform, but at this point, she's built a whole legacy of her own. She's not about to risk it all and end up back in the hood. She's a young woman, a businesswoman, a mother, and someone who's actively building a brand rooted in health, fitness, and positivity. Getting tangled up in RICO whispers and messy public drama? Not on her bingo card. That live session, the way she phrased it, almost felt like a clean exit. Polite, respectful, but firm. Like she was saying, I'm steering clear of this chaos. Meanwhile, Gotti's the one left shaking. Single. Possibly losing his biggest artist. And desperately clinging to Angela, as the entire internet watches what looks like the empire crumbling in real time. But here's where it gets really juicy, because word on the street is that Yo Gotti has been pulling out all the stops to win Angela back. Moves so desperate, you wouldn't believe it if you didn't hear it straight from insiders. These are moves nobody expected from him. Late-night calls that go unanswered, quiet attempts to set up just a sit-downs so they can talk things through. But Angela? She's not budging. She's pouring her energy into her son and her businesses, and if you've noticed, she's been glowing lately in a way that screams unbothered. Some even whisper that she might be entertaining new suitors on the low. Whether that's true or not, the message is crystal clear. Angela is not waiting around for Gotti to get it together. And that's where this whole thing blew up. Because GloRilla's fallout with Gotti already made him look weak in front of the entire industry. When your own artist clowns you on live, that's bad enough. But when the woman you spent years chasing, the one you finally caught, refuses to take you back, that's a double L. Fans are split down the middle. Some are clowning him, saying, "Bro, you're just now realizing what you lost." Others are holding out hope, convinced maybe love will bring them back together. But let's be real, this doesn't feel like a romantic movie moment. This feels like a man watching his empire crumble, label drama, artist drama, and clinging to Angela because she was the only stable piece of his life. And Angela? She's been ghosting him. She hasn't said a single word about the Glo drama, hasn't fed into the headlines, hasn't taken the bait. Instead, she's been focused on her son, her brands, and her peace. And sometimes, silence speaks louder than any rant ever could. If she keeps ignoring him, we might be watching one of the most public heartbreaks hip-hop has seen in years. Because let's face it, GloRilla has already pulled back, Angela has moved forward, and Gotti is left standing in the middle of a mess he created himself. From shooting his shot and down in the DM to getting dumped on IG Live, the man who once looked like he had it all now looks like he fumbled it all. The down in the DM love story was sold to us like a fairy tale, but that fairy tale might be closing its final chapter. And right now, all of hip-hop is watching to see if Gotti can bounce back from such a public downfall. One thing's for sure, two things for certain. When love, loyalty, and legacy collide in this world, nothing fades quietly. How Gotti handles this next move is what's going to decide how people remember this saga. And trust, Angela's next step is the one everybody's waiting on. Because here's the truth, if that young Dolph case gets opened back up, and those RICO whispers turn into something real, Angela's silence may end up being the smartest move she's ever made. As much as fans root for the love story, being tied to that storm could mean taking a loss right alongside him. And GloRilla? She saw the writing on the wall early. She's got too much going for her: festivals, endorsements, a whole brand she's built on her own. She's not about to risk it all. Pulling back wasn't shade, it was survival. She's protecting her assets, her career, her future. At the end of the day, all of this comes back to Gotti. For years, he put Angela on a pedestal. He didn't hide it, he didn't whisper it, he shouted it out loud for the world to see. His songs, his interviews, his social media posts all carried that same theme. Angela was the dream girl, the one he wanted above anyone else. And in a culture where rappers often mask vulnerability with bravado, Gotti's pursuit of Angela felt bold, almost refreshing. It was like watching someone manifest a fairy tale in real time, and fans rooted for him every step of the way. Eventually, that persistence paid off. The moment finally came when Angela gave him a chance, and for a while, the narrative looked like it had the perfect ending. Here was Gotti, the hustler, the label boss, the man who built an empire, standing proudly beside the woman he once only admired from afar. Together, they seemed unstoppable, a power couple that checked every box. Fans loved it. The industry respected it. And Gotti himself looked like he had finally gotten the one prize money or fame could never truly buy: genuine love. But that's the thing about dreams: once you catch them, they stop being fantasies and start becoming responsibilities. And somewhere along the line, Gotti forgot that. He didn't protect what he had fought so hard to build. Whether it was distractions, ego, or the pressures of running his empire, his attention drifted. The very relationship that once symbolized his persistence and loyalty started slipping through the cracks. Now, the tables have turned in the most ironic way possible. Angela isn't bitter. She isn't blasting him online. She isn't begging for attention. She's glowing, unbothered, and moving on with her life. Her silence says everything without her needing to say a word. And that quiet strength is what makes the entire situation sting even more for Gotti. While he's left scrambling, dealing with label drama, legal whispers, and public embarrassment, Angela is showing the world what it looks like to level up after heartbreak. And that's the hardest pill to swallow. Gotti had it all. He had the dream girl, the picture-perfect couple, the respect of the culture, and the love story he himself made public. He turned down in the DM into prophecy. He turned a crush into reality. But instead of nurturing it, instead of honoring it, he fumbled it. And once you fumble something that valuable, it doesn't always bounce back into your hands. Sometimes, it's gone for good. That's why no matter what happens next, you can't blame Angela. You just can't. She didn't ask to be chased for years in front of the world. She didn't ask to be the centerpiece of a rap love story. But once she did give him a chance, she gave it fully. And when things fell apart, she didn't drag it out in the media or humiliate him publicly. She simply chose herself, her son, and her peace. In today's world, that's one of the strongest moves any woman can make, walking away with grace instead of chaos. Meanwhile, the internet is eating the drama up. On one side, fans clown Gotti, saying he went from manifesting his dream girl to crawling back in desperation. On the other, the hopeless romantics argue that maybe, just maybe, love can find its way back. But when you strip away the noise, the reality is much simpler. Gotti's scrambling now because everything around him feels unstable: his label, his artists, his reputation. And Angela represents the one thing that once gave him stability. But Angela isn't waiting around for him to figure it out. She's already moved on. And that's exactly why this saga feels less like a love story and more like a cautionary tale. The caution is clear: chasing a dream is one thing, but knowing how to cherish it once it's yours is another. Gotti proved that persistence works, but he also proved that persistence without consistency can backfire. Because what good is winning the heart of your dream girl if you don't protect it? What good is being the boss if you let your personal life unravel in front of everyone? Angela's silence, her glow, her focus on family and business, that's her mic drop moment. She doesn't need interviews, she doesn't need subliminals, she doesn't need revenge. Her life moving forward is the statement. And as the world watches Gotti's empire face pressure from all sides, the contrast between her peace and his chaos speaks louder than any headline. So yes, Gotti will keep calling, keep sending flowers, keep liking old pictures in hopes that the fairy tale can be revived. But deep down, everyone sees the truth. Angela doesn't need him anymore. She doesn't need the story, the spotlight, or the validation. She's free. And sometimes, that freedom is the most powerful revenge. In the end, this isn't just gossip. It's a reminder that love, loyalty, and legacy don't just collide in hip-hop. They define it. And when one of those falls apart, the world notices. Gotti once looked like the man who won it all. Now, he looks like the man who lost what mattered most. And that's why the narrative has shifted, not because Angela left, but because Angela thrived after leaving. And that's something no amount of chasing can undo.